Good morning, welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. Ah, Teresa left that door open again. Anyway, not that it matters. She's at church today. It is Sunday. Yeah, I know I've been posting a lot of things on this channel, lately. I think this is probably the third video in a row that I've posted here. And, you know, I like this channel. It's because it's just me talking and my thoughts and things that I see and I read online and in magazines and stuff, because I do a lot of reading. But, maybe that's something that people don't know about me, but I do. And I also am somebody that tries to be informative and accurate. Some people will take my information as arrogance. Some people will take it as, I'm a know-it-all. And I'm going to bring us to the point of that know-it-all stuff in a minute. So, last night, before I went to bed, I was on downstairs watching the remains of a television program. I can't even remember what it was, but I come home and I watch TV because it's cold outside, and I watch a little bit of TV after I'm done playing with William or whatnot, and then he goes to bed, and then with Teresa, and then she puts him to bed, and then I'll come up a few minutes later because he doesn't settle down too well with me because I like to play with him, But anyway, so I decided I'd look at my telephone and go to YouTube and see what was going on there, and I saw that Millennial Farmer was on. Zach Johnson was on a live stream. And, I don't pay too much attention to Zach's channel. His videos are good. They're good videos. The problem with them are, to me, is that, and I don't want to call him a sellout because he's doing a really good thing. I mean, he's very popular on here, and that's great. He does what he wants to do, which is fine, and I'm not going to knock him for that. I do rouse him a little bit from time to time, and people think that it's jealousy or something, but it isn't. It's just that's just the way I am. I kind of like to fool around with people a little bit, and sometimes it gets taken out of context. So, that being said, anyway, I went onto the channel, and to my surprise, I got recognized for a question that I asked them, because I had no idea what they were talking about. They were talking about a fundraiser of some sort, and I know there are some people out here that do fundraisers just to line their pockets and stuff, and I fell victim to a couple of those. It's like, oh yeah, so-and-so dying of cancer, and then you find out later that there actually was just a bullshit story, and the GoFundMe account went to that despicable douchebag. And yesterday, actually, one came through, and I checked it out. It's an Australian fella. This woman has cancer, and she's in fourth stage. She's going to die. Family farm, and I can't remember the name of it. You know what? I do have my telephone here, and I can find out really quick. And if you're interested in helping these people, that's great. I would like to. Let's see. It's Combine Harvesters Threshers. Combines, Harvesters, Threshers. Capital C, capital H, capital T. Combines, Harvesters, Threshers. That's his channel. It's an Instagram. He has a post here on Facebook. I have a friend whose wife is in the end stage of brain cancer. Wondering if you can share the help with a Christmas wish. It is a Facebook link. I don't know if I can. I would link this to this account, but I can do this. This is easy enough. If you guys can, well, here, I'm going to actually click on it. This is the family. That's the family that is going through this terrible time, Christmas time, They PayPal friends and family to Stomper 1974 at sbcglobal.net. If you want to check that out, I don't know if this will go the right way or not, or if it's going to be backwards, but try that. Check it out, see what you can do for them. I find it to be rather sad that anybody dies from cancer. But anyway, so back to Millennial Farmer. Millennial Farmer's doing this campaign where they're doing a fundraiser, and as of last night, I think they had $50,000 raised up, and it is for the grain bin rescue for fire departments across the country. Apparently, he had done something, and they, to help supply fire departments across the country in agricultural areas with grain bin rescue equipment. And I know that Kingwood, our little fire department rescue squad building, we have fire department and rescue squad. They're all volunteer. I'm almost 100% certain that they have nothing for grain bin rescue. A few years back, a grain bin had caught on fire over here. Yes, they were running a heater in it to dry the corn. It was a grain bin dryer, in-bin dryer. And all they didn't have any way to put the fire out, so they cut a hole in the side of the bin and basically drained the bin out and put the fire out that way. And that worked, for that. Now, I've heard several times over my lifespan, in my career here as a farmer, people that get trapped in a grain bin and they suffocate, and the only way they get them out or rescue them is to cut a hole in the side of the bin and extract the body, and that's just the end of it. And Millennial Farmer did do a video, or is going to be doing a video on the tube, and it's kind of cool. I mean, I've seen it before on like on a Successful Farming magazine, where they take these panels and they put a tube over the victim, whether he's trapped up to his neck. You can die. The pressure of the grain, and a lot of people don't understand this, but if you take a bowling ball, say a 16-pound bowling ball, and tie a rope around it, or drill an eye into it and put a rope into it, run it down into your grain bin, and a ball is easier to pull through grain than a human body, because there's less friction or more even friction around it. It comes out pretty easily. But that 16-pound bowling ball will turn into a 600-pound bowling ball. You will need come-alongs and stuff to pull it back out of there. If you get trapped up to your neck, the weight around your chest can crush your chest. If it goes over your head, you will actually breathe in grain into your lungs. There was a fella not that far from here who died that way, and they said that his lungs were full of wheat. Wheat had caked on him, and it collapsed in around him. He was in there chipping away with a shovel. Next thing, he's up over his head, and he died. I think 2 people died in that. Entering a grain bin is dangerous at best, if you do have hanging grain or bridged grain. I call it hanging grain. I've had it in the past. We had corn that got hot in a corner with the way the grain bin was before. The way it is today, it's far less likely that will happen in there, and our bin is only a 23,000 bushel bin anyway. So it's not like it's going to be that big of a problem today. But years past, the center would go out, and then you'd have these big columns of hanging grain. And how do you get it to break loose and go down into the auger? Well, you get in there and you take a long pole and you poke at it at the bottom until it lets loose. At least that's how we dealt with it. And it did. Nobody ever got trapped in there, but a couple of times I was a little scared doing it. But so anyway, I get on to the thing, and I asked them a simple question as to what was going on here, and they picked up the question. I'm not sure whether it was Master Pipe Layer or whether it was Zach himself, but they actually picked up on it, and they read it out loud, and I was quite honored to be recognized on the channel and on the live feed, and it was nice. So they explained, because I wasn't the only one that was just coming into the conversation at that point, and they every so often they would re-update you as to what they were talking about, because people come and people go on live streams. It's just the way it is. So I then expressed my concerns here just a little bit briefly, that here they would just cut a hole in the bin, drain the grain out, or dig the grain out from this hole in the side of the bin, and then extract the dead body, because that's how it goes around here. Because they don't have any of this equipment to pull, to surround the person that's entrapped and pull the grain out without destroying the bin or even causing the person to die if they were trapped in there. So I asked that question, and and they read it, or I posted that, and they read that in New Jersey, that's how it usually goes. And of course, then they went into the into the reasons that they're doing this and the importance of it. And I agreed with them 100%. I really do. I think that every fire department that has agriculture in its area with long-term storage bins should be required by the state, local government to actually purchase extraction or rescue equipment for grain bin entrapments. We are to be quite honest with you, farming is very dangerous deal. People die every day doing tasks from, stepping into a manure pit and getting overwhelmed by gas to climbing up a silo or getting a whiff of, silo gas and passing out and dying. And I've even heard stories of a fellow that was working on his silo unloader, and a salesman came and he yelled, and the salesman yelled, and nobody heard him. And then the farmer that was up the silo said, "Look out below." And the salesman stuck his head under the chute as he dropped one of the silo unloader weights down and killed him with the silo unloader weight. So, I mean, it's just a very dangerous industry. And that's probably one of my biggest fears here on this farm is with people that are not as familiar with the equipment as what I am and the dangers that go along with it, including my little boy. He's 2 years old and he has no idea of death or the dangers of agriculture. And that's why so many children under the age of 14 die every year in agriculture. And a lot of it, and there's a vast majority of it, do die from what the millennial farmer, Zach Johnson, was talking about yesterday, was bin entrapments. That was one of my favorite places to play when I was young. We would go into the corn, me and my sisters and my friends, and, when I had friends. I say that. I don't hang out with people anymore because, they don't share the same interests as I do, and they just don't, they don't share the same interests or values as I do, even the people that I grew up with the exception of one or two. And I just don't spend enough time with those people anymore. I still consider them my friends, and if they needed me, I would help. If they needed me, I would be there. That's just the way that I am, and I've always been a very helpful person when it comes to people, even people that I don't know. I passed a girl on the road the other day, and I felt like I wanted to turn around and help her, but I was hesitant because she was a woman alongside the road outside of her car. I knew what her problem was. She was looking under the car. Ice had built up under the car and it was rubbing on the tire. I could see it as I passed. And I thought, I could just do a quick flip-flop, knock that ice out from under her tire, and she'd be able to go again without having any problems. But I figured, you know what, anymore, all it takes is the wrong person having a bad day, and next thing I'm getting arrested for some kind of sexual assault because they get some sadistic problem. I live in New Jersey, which is a stone's throw from New York City, Philadelphia, Easton, Camden, and Trenton. I am about 40 miles from Trenton. I am about an hour from New York City. I'm 30 miles from Easton, and Philadelphia is an hour and a half away. These people, when they see somebody, they just aren't not used to country folks or people that are willing to help. So I kept going. 20 minutes later, when I came back, she was gone, and the pile of snow was there. So, no harm, no foul. But that's just the way I am, and I like to help. So anyway, after I had posted that, they would just cut a hole in the bin and extract the body, I was reading the comments as they go through, because, Zach's got a pretty big channel. I think he's at 700,000 subscribers, which, is amazing to me. I've been at 143,000 subscribers now for about a year. People they subscribe, and then YouTube does a mass exodus. A mass unsubscribing campaign against me, which is fine. I'm not here to be the most popular person. I'm not here to hold your hand and tell you that, that every piece of equipment that is produced by a company that lets me use it is the best piece of equipment out there. That's why I do not do these free product reviews, because There's good and bad in everything you buy. If Case International or the Case, Fiat Internet New Holland came to me with a Case New Holland tractor and said, "Here, Mr. Pandy, we'll let you use this thing for 6 months. You tell us what you think of it on the positive side. Please leave the negative out." That's why I don't do it. Titan Equipment had contacted me and they said, "Hey, we're going to bring you equipment for your skid steer, and you can use it until you're blue in the face, and then do some videos on the positives of it, and then you can have the piece of equipment to either continue to use or to sell." And I was like, "Oh, well, what if I don't like the piece of equipment?" "Well, if you don't like the piece of equipment, we'll just talk about it. We'll take it back, or you can keep it. If that's just it. But just post a couple of positive things about it, and it's yours, because they want me to be an influencer." Well, if I'm going to be an influencer, I want to be an influencer on both sides of the coin, because every coin has two sides to it. I mean, every coin has two sides to it. This is a Canadian, 2 ounces of silver. There's the queen, and there's the maple leaf. So we don't have two-sided coins that look the same on each side. They just don't. There's positives and negatives to everything. So anyways, as I was reading these comments, I had somebody write a comment about me, and it's actually several comments about me, and I wasn't too thrilled about it. And it's because they think one comment, which kind of struck me before I went to bed, was that I'm a know-it-all. Well, I'm not a know-it-all. I know what I know, and I know a lot from experience and what I have done in my life, in agriculture and other things. I know how the markets work because I've been in this business for probably longer than you've been an adult. And, I just took offense to it, and I thought about it. As I'm laying in bed and I couldn't sleep, I'm like, you know what? I really am a generous person. I really, truly am. I've been known to do things that people won't look at me and they're like, "Why would you even bother? You don't know that person, and why did you help them?" And it's like, well, because that's just the way I am. Years ago, there was a movie, and it was called Pay It Forward, and I hated Helen Hunt. I used to call her Helen Cunt because I just couldn't stand that actress. But that was probably one of the more likable characters that she played was in this movie, Pay It Forward. And I'm watching Pay It Forward, and it was really sad at the end when they killed the kid. But it started a movement of Pay It Forward. Well, I had been doing that for years. It just was what it was. I'm a generous person. If I see someone in need, I help them. They offer me money. I refuse the money because I would just hope that this person that I had helped would see someone in distress and pay it forward. It was really a cool movie, and that's how I've been my whole life. To see these comments that are, negative towards me because they see this rough guy, and I'm a pretty rough guy. I'm pretty opinionated, but I do know what I know, and I know that it to be as truthful. I try to project what I know as truthfully as I possibly can. I see things that are not right, including this past election. If you people think that this election was done free and fair, you're as delusional as, I don't know, Charles Manson. That's about how delusional you are. If you look at the facts, the actual facts of what happened during that election, and say, "Oh, no, that's free and fair." No. You're delusional. You are Charles Manson's buttfuck buddy. That's what you are. And I'm not calling you a name. I'm just telling you exactly what you are. Open your mind a little bit and take a good solid look at what happened on November 3rd. And when I say that, then I get berated. "Oh, you're an idiot." Or the Obama years. "Oh, the Obama years were," and every president says this, or I shouldn't say every president, everyone that doesn't like the incoming president always says, "Well, the reason he's so successful was because of the Democrat that came up behind him." Well, that in some cases that may or may not be true, but for the most part, that's bullshit. Yeah. I know what the stagnant economy we had under the Obama administration. I know what it was. I know what inflation was. Yes, we were in financial trouble during the Bush years, at the end of the Bush years, because we were fighting endless wars. We were dropping trillions of dollars of bombs and fighting for oil that we could have drilled for ourselves, because now we are energy independent. Thank you very much, and we don't need to send our boys over to the Arabic countries to fight for oil. It's just pointless. Let them fight it out on their own, right, William? So anyway, I went to bed last night and I was thinking about this. I'm like, I know who I am. I really do. And I'm sorry that people feel that I am that I'm a know-it-all or I'm an arrogant piece of shit that doesn't know anything about anything. But I didn't get to where I am today by not knowing. There's a lot of people that have failed in their lives because they actually thought they knew it all. I am in an ever state of learning, forever. I will never stop learning. And as things come along, and as I learn stuff, I apply it to my business, and I try to share it with people out here. There are old techniques that have been forgotten that I think are very useful in today's agricultural world. And I honestly think that sometimes making do with older equipment can be more profitable than going out and buying the perfect precision planting devices that you all are, I don't say all, but a lot of people that are running today. If I went out and spent $300,000 on a corn planter that was hooked up to, the GPS and everything, and I had row shutoffs, yeah, I'd have saved a couple $1,000s worth of seed, right? Or not really. I'd have saved a little bit of seed, maybe a few $100s worth of seed, maybe. I doubt it. The yields would have been, I don't know, an average of 216 bushels to the acre. Wasn't bad, now was it? Oh, and I turned around and I made the fodder, so there you go. So I took this old piece of shit, 1974 John Deere 7000 corn planter. I put precision meters into it. I rebuilt it, made it run really, really well. Maybe I had crooked rows because my GPS is an inferior piece of shit, but you know what? I made do and I made money, and that's what it boiled down to. And that's what I was trying to show people. Do I know it all? No, not at all. Do I know what makes a corn crop? Yeah, I do. I've learned over the last, I'd say, 30 years of doing it. What the most important part of growing a crop is, whether it's corn or soybeans. My father has been dinging me a little bit. He's like, well, you'll be growing beans again. You'll be growing beans again. I don't want to grow beans again. But then I go out in the fields and I look, and I'm not seeing deer tracks like I used to. When I took that walk the other night, and I've done several walks since then, I have walked across these fields, and where they were super highways of deer traffic, there is nothing. I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. What happened to the deer? Blue tongue and chronic wasting disease, I believe, and we've got bears and coyotes now, and I believe they are what is taking the deer herd down to a manageable number. Will I grow soybeans again? That's yet to be seen. I'd say don't say never, but I'd also say when I do grow soybeans again, you're going to see some amazing yields. We used to get 60, 80 bushel yields on beans, and that's no joke. And the reason we did 60 to 80 bushel beans wasn't because we were fighting the deer constantly. It was soil health and drainage. Not, you got to be smart about your soil and your soil health, and then you can produce those numbers of soybeans. Now, with the way the mushroom barns are going, I'm expecting to plant somewhere between 400 and 600 acres of corn and possibly 400 or 500 acres of soybeans. I don't know. We're going to look. We're going to see. We're going to explore it. But yeah, that's coming. I mean, that's coming. I'm definitely going to plant no less than 400 acres of corn this coming year. No less than 400 acres, as long as I get the compost that I need to put on it, and my soil health will climb. And there you go. And Bob's your uncle. Nobody knows that term for some reason. I think it's a British term or a UK term, English term, and Bob's your uncle, meaning there you go. Well, there you go. Or there you have it, kind of a thing. It's not an American term. It's an English term or an Irish term or Scottish term. I'm not sure. But I heard it, I like it, and I'll use it. So, anyways, there you go. Have a nice day.